Hi guys, it's Molly with Soul School Spiritual Guidance and Healing. I'm so very glad to have you guys here with me today. I've got another message for you that I'm going to be delivering through the cards. Pardon the noise, it's just kind of as wise as it can be right now. Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new, welcome back. If you're not, I'm so happy to be back with you guys. It feels really good. And like I said yesterday on the video that I got posted, I'm not sure. I made 2 videos yesterday and one I'm going to hold on to. I'm going to just kind of spend some time learning how to articulate that message a little bit better. But so if I repeat things, I don't remember what got posted yesterday and what did not. But it does feel very different, the messages that are coming through. And I'm excited about that. But I also feel like today I'm a little nervous because it feels like a pretty big message, okay? We do have galactic guides coming in to help deliver this message. And I've kind of had to set up extra energetic protections around me for that. Do know that if you're connecting extra dimensionally at this time, those protections are very, very essential. There's a video I posted a little while back and with a link in it that I'm going to go ahead and repost the link in the description here because it is about quantum protection and how you guys can just add several extra layers of protection to your own energetic body as you are connecting to these other dimensional frequencies that are definitely out there. They're reaching out to us at this time. And I hope to have a live discussion on my channel soon where we get into that information a little bit more. But for today, welcome. Before I get into what the cards are saying, my guides do want me to relay to you a story that I found yesterday on TikTok. I can't say the name, I just can't remember the name of the person who posted this, but I'm familiar with her account. It's a great person to follow. She shares a lot of Native American mythology and just stories about how her people have historically interacted with the environment around them, with the animals, with the spirits even. So I'm gonna post a link to that TikToker down below so you can go see the story from her. I believe that she is in the American Northwest, okay? But what I saw last night as I was, just flipping through my stream was this beautiful story that struck me as a very, very powerful metaphor for a message that my guides have been trying to get me to deliver to you guys for a while now, okay? So in this story, she talks about the time that the sky split open. This is, of course, just a legend that has been passed on through the generations of her particular Native American ancestral traditions, okay? So the story goes, the sky split open and these men poured out of the sky and they started dancing, and some of them didn't have heads. And all of the people on earth, many of them turned to look at what was going on in the sky, whereas other people, what they did is they filled their canoe with waters and they just looked at the water, at the reflection of themselves, and that's where they maintained their attention throughout the time that this sky is split open. So the sky is split open. Some of the people are looking at it. Some are doing the reflection. And then after a while of these men, some without heads, dancing, then a bunch of women came out, and many of them also did not have heads, but they did have eyes. And it was just sort of this whole scene played out for a while before the sky then closed back up. If I remember the story correctly, what happened is the people who had turned to look at the sky at the time that that was taking place slowly began to die off. Whereas the people who had turned their attention to the water, to the reflection of themselves in the water, those are the people who lived. It's a metaphor, it's a story, okay? But it struck me like so hard because my guides have come in and they really want to talk about an energetic shift that is happening. Maybe, perhaps, all right, I'm feeling like a lot of this is just going to apply throughout 2022. All right, that there's going to be a lot of sort of distractions in the sky. I'm reminded of sand tarot. I really cut myself off of a lot of online YouTube tarot readers, not because there's anything wrong with them, but because there are just certain people that I've been getting my message from, and San is somebody that I recommend to everybody. All right, she's been getting amazing messages about what's going on collectively. But she's been talking in a lot of her readings about some sort of sky phenomenon, and I think that's sort of maybe why this resonated with me, all right? And we can go ahead at this time, my guides are saying, just please understand the sky phenomenon as a metaphor at this time, okay? Not a literal opening of the sky, all right? That's not what we're talking about right now. What we're talking about is a traumatic shift in the environment around us, in the world that we live in, all right? And the message that can be gleaned from the story that I just told is that where we choose to focus our perception has a lot to do with how well we will fare throughout these changes, all right? So I have 3 decks on the table that are meant to represent 3 different energies. The Galactic Heritage cards are here because they're meant to speak to the specific energies, the galactic energies that are here to inform us at this time. And the reason why they're such experts at this is because their own civilizations, I will not use the term race, and I'm sorry, but we'll get into that conversation later. But their own star civilization went through similar upheavals, is the word I'm getting, at another point in their past, and therefore they're here to inform us, okay? They're in to bring tools that we didn't know we had, and to provide support. So we're gonna find out who that is through the Galactic Heritage cards. They're gonna give us a peek at what's going on energetically using the alchemical visions. What's on the bottom? They want me to look at what's on the bottom. 9 of Coins, okay? Look at this, and bees are a major symbol of extra dimensionality for me. This is a portal being open and somebody stepping through, okay? We're gonna talk about what this gift is here. But these cards, I'm gonna pull more, are gonna be used to talk about what's going on energetically. And then I have the Ship of Fools Tarot here that wants to talk about how we're going to experience that here on Earth. And the reason why I had these 2 halves of the deck sitting on the table facing at me because as I sat down and I started to get into this energy, I did a split and I have 2 very opposing cards that have shown up. And to me, that represents 2 very different potential experiences of this energy shift, okay? One of them is the 5 of Coins, okay? The 5 of Coins has a lot to do with lack mentality. I also want to talk about the fact that this person is very ornately dressed, very luxuriously dressed for this being a medieval tarot deck. These etchings go back to the 15th century, I believe. Okay. This is somebody who is in a position of beggar at this time, even though they're so cloaked in the robes of royalty. That's the way that phrase wants to be expressed. And you see there's these dogs licking his wounds. Whereas inside is a very simple cell. Okay, this is not a palace, this is not a mansion. This is somebody who's been living their life simply. And look, he's dressed as a fool and not a king, right? The quote unquote fool has before them everything they need, that whole chest of coins. Okay, so this 5 of Coins lack mentality is one particular way that we could experience the changes that are coming up. The other way, you guys, is the Empress. This is all about growth. This is the opposite. Actually, I would maybe even call if we were sticking with the majors, I would call the Death card the opposite of the Empress. But as far as the ability to use the energy that's available to us, or our ability to thrive within this particular energy, it's totally possible, okay? Do you see how this person is in the tent that's marked by the Fool's hat? And Fool, by the way, a Fool appears on every card in this deck, all right? This medieval jester type energy. Okay, so we can either be the Five of Coins or we can be the Empress in this situation. But I'm going to go ahead and get back to the Galactic Heritage cards and see who wants to come through at this time. Thank you so much. Divine Spirits of Love and Light. Archangels, ancestors, allies, and our interdimensional guides. Thank you so much. So for a long time, I was really, really resistant to seeing or allowing myself to perceive, even through my mind's eye, the presence of these extraterrestrial energies, okay? But now I'm definitely able to see, we can call them spaceships, I guess, but it's so far outside of what our traditional notion of a spaceship is, okay? But I see almost like these beautiful pods that have surrounded the earth, and it's almost like they're standing just on the other side of the border of the boundary that they cannot cross without violating our free will. Okay, because that's very important. If you want to know the difference between entities you can trust and entities that you cannot, those who respect the law of free will, that's who I'm aligning myself with, all right? So they're there. We can visit them astrally, and we can also call upon them. In fact, a collective calling upon them is sort of what makes it more possible for them to come through and connect with us at this time, okay? Thank you so much, you guys. Who else wants to come through at this time? We definitely have the Pleiadians sharing cultural ideas. And that, I love that. We're going to come back to that. And then I do have the Orion light. This is something from the future, okay? I want to say that Orion energy, as far as the different galactic civilizations that are coming through for us at this time, a lot of us who chose to incarnate on this planet are still, how can I say, we are still affected by our experiences in the Orion civilization, okay? Because if you want, and by this, Lisa Royal Holt is my #1 resource for this type of information. She in fact created these cards, and then Prism of Lyra is a book of hers that really goes into the galactic history of each of these different star civilizations, okay? We have a lot of Pleiadians coming in, but let's go ahead. I love you guys. I love you guys. Okay. The Orion energy, if you learn about the history of the galactic civilization of the Orion, the best metaphor that's been used for that, and in fact, there's an argument out there that this particular story was told to humankind in order to resonate with our own histories in the Orion civilization, okay? But the best metaphor out there is the Star Wars. The fact that you got rebels, and then you have this literal galactic empire. And there's a lot of issues of tyranny, of power, of powerlessness, of control, of fighting battles with the wrong tools, is what they're saying, okay? And they've evolved past this, okay? The Orion civilization has learned those lessons that we on planet Earth are still learning, okay? So the light of awareness from a future time stream is coming through with the Orion light, okay? These are I want to call the Orion, I know I feel like it's such a masculine energy, but these are almost like the big brothers that went out and made all the mistakes and are like, hey, I know you're going to do what you're going to do, but at the same time, I've got some experience under my belt, and here are some perspectives that I think that I can share with you in order to help you out. I do want to look up what the book has to say about this, though. I love this. Our true state of being is as a unified, abiding awareness. This awareness contains no judgment, labeling, commentary, or opinion. When we do deep meditation, we can access this state, first for brief moments and then for longer periods of time. The consciousness of the Orion light represents this abiding awareness within us that transcends polarity. And I think that's really beautiful because there's so much polarization going on this planet at this time. Okay, if we can understand that as an aspect of humanity's karmic cycles that we've got to play out, right? Then we can take it less personally. Okay? Because if you look at your community, it might feel very, very polarized and very, very fragmented. But when you go within, you can remind yourself that we're all one. We're all one. We're all just doing our best here. Okay? You may visualize this as a candle flame during your meditation. Work with this exercise to reconnect with your true state of being. As each person does this, the old wounds from Orion are healed and humanity can awaken. So that's beautiful because what they're giving me insight into is how much mysticism, psychic abilities, spirituality was very much suppressed in that civilization. We were taught to believe that we were not magical, multidimensional beings. And don't we live in a civilization now that kind of wants us to believe that too, all right? But also it talks about a concept that came up. Did that get posted? It was in the extended reading for the House That Love Can Build, or the House That Love Builds, however that title came out. It talked about holographic healing, which is, of course, a area of expertise for the Pleiadian energies. And these are coming through. Look, we have 66 and 88 master numbers coming through. I'll come back to that. But that idea of holographic healing, I went on a random tangent about Hitler that I don't think I really got to the end of. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I know people get alienated when you start talking about Hitler, but when I try to think of what it means to love people unconditionally, to remove judgment, I take the worst example of a human being that I can, the hardest human being in history that I think it would be to find love and compassion for, and that's where I begin. Okay? But the argument here is that if we can go back and heal Hitler, we can heal the harm that he did to the world. Incrementally, right? Incrementally. But that's the idea, that if you can heal something from a different place on the timeline, it's holographic healing. Holographic healing was the phrase that was on that card, right? But if we can come to the realization and the awareness of our own unity here on earth at this time, we're actually beginning to heal the wounds of separation that many of us are still carrying around from the time that we existed with the Orion civilization, okay? We got to come back to this because there's a lot to unpack with the Pleiadian energies, okay? This is going to be a long video, and I hope you guys don't mind, okay? I really don't. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I want to hear that message, but it's an hour and 15 minutes long, and then I don't click on it. And so I want to make sure that my messages are in easily consumable bites for you guys without oversimplifying, all right? Then we have Sirius. You guys, I feel this very much. And I'll go ahead and talk about my experience because many of you can resonate with it. If you see, there's this energy and then there's a planet in the middle and this being that has appeared on it, okay? And this card is saving humanity. Many of us who associate or connect to the Sirian energy came here to finish work that we were on the planet to do before. And I'm talking about like we were the ancient aliens. We were the ancient civilizations. I believe very much that Lemuria was such a project, okay? I have very strong memories of work around the time of the fall of Lemuria, okay? and transplanting those people and ideals all over the planet, okay? But many of us have come back to finish work that we were here on this planet to do in the past. And I feel like there's a little bit of a warning that comes here because A, you cannot save who does not want to be saved, okay? But also, let's be careful with hubris because we're talking about 4th and 5th density Sirian entities that we were in the past when we were on this planet, all right? And there's still traces of ego that exist at those vibrational frequencies, okay? There's still the ability to come in and feel almost like we know better than others what they need in order to be saved, right? There's a little bit of righteousness that was present with the Sirians in the past, okay? Like the idea was, well, we can come in and we can save this planet because we know something about them that they do not, all right? But many of us, if we do have these memories, are really being triggered at this time in ways that we don't understand because it has to do with past lives that we spent on this planet, okay? And I want you to know that the way that they relate that to me, let me get a drink because now my thoughts are zing, zing, zinging. Where are we going, you guys? I love you. It's very experimental. Imagine if you were in that pod just on the outer boundary of Earth, looking down, being like, oh, these poor humans. I've got an idea, okay? And then you come and you incarnate on this planet and you play out your idea. It was an experiment. Like it's done with the best of intentions. We're not experimenting. The Sirians have not been like experimenting on humanity just to see what happens, right? There have been times where some of us have incarnated onto this planet to work on projects that were meant to uplift humanity, and it just did not go as planned, okay? So, what we're being asked to do is release the identity of Savior, and just be that person who shows up and says, how can I help? What do you need? Rather than walking in and saying, well, I know exactly what humanity needs at this time. And in fact, that's why a lot of us, our memories are cloaked in the way that they are. Because we need experience being humans, believing that we're humans, in order to generate those ideas about how we can, quote unquote, save or assist or support humanity, okay? But the Sirians are very much here. The Sirians are an energy that I like to call the builders of worlds, okay? That's where the Sirians are. That's their area of expertise. How can I build an environment that's going to be perfect for a very specific thing to grow in, okay? I feel like there's more. Many of you guys are actually here to help heal. And when I say you guys, I mean people who resonate with the Sirian energy, are actually here to heal the relationship between mankind and the planet. And the best way that you can do that is by directly sending love to the planet. It's simpler than you think. It's simpler than you think, okay? This one I love because I do also have a very strong resonance with vegan energy. Vegans are almost like the ancestors of the Sirians, is the way that I understand it. Okay? And vegans are very much associated with mysticism, all right? So, like, unseen elements of the world that we live in, unseen elements of reality that we can utilize in order to increase our perception, our healing, etc. All right? So this is all about the power of sound, okay? So sound healing is definitely something that we can look at this time, but I also feel like the power of your voice, understanding the words that you produce and the quality and tone of the words that you produce have a really tremendous effect on the reality that is around you at this time, okay? And by speaking your truth, there's something, I don't know, like on the quantum level that they're trying to show me, that speaking your truth and then somebody on the other side of the world speaking their truth, which is in resonance, there's some sort of like magnetic attraction that exists between those energies. Okay? Many of us are looking at what we see going on around us, and there are people just spouting off at the mouth. They're not even thinking about what they're saying, and it's just adding more noise. Okay? But then there are some of us who see what's going on around us and we're keeping our mouth closed about it because we don't want to be outcast. Okay? Speak your messages. Get them out there. Find the other people who are speaking similar messages. Okay? Because when I talk about the messages, what they're showing me, it's almost like when these words leave your mouth, they are an entity. They are an energy that can go out into the world and that affect our own electromagnetic field. And as well as like the quality, I don't know how else to say it, the quality of the vibration of those words we carry around in our own personal energy field. And it literally affects the quality of that energy field. What is allowed to come near it and what is repelled from it. Speak your truths. Don't be speaking untruths right now, for sure. Okay? Sometimes you got to be a little, keep things under. You don't want to tell everything you know. But don't be so quiet about your beliefs that you're not able to attract other people who share them. Okay? Now, we got this triple showing of the Pleiadians. And look, we have past, present, and future energies. Let's talk about the imbalance of positive polarity. Yeah, okay. Oh, you guys, it's toxic positivity. In the ancient Pleiadian history, one of the core lessons of the species had to do with denying the shadow side within. They only wanted to focus on the positive and habitually suppress their dark aspects. It is important to recognize and embrace all aspects, dark and light, within each and every one of us. In your life right now, try to see where you suppress the darkness inside, such as emotions or pain that you don't want to feel. See it, love it, and dialogue with it. You guys, Braha. Okay, is it Braca or Braha? I feel like it's Braca. I feel like it's a sound that I'm not used to making with my throat. Braca Goldsmith, okay? She is a Pleiadian channel, and she just had, I believe just this morning, she posted some channel message from the Pleiadians. That's a YouTube channel, by the way. I'll link to it below. Let me write down Braca. She had a message that she put out from the Pleiadians about the Cancer full moon, about talking to your insides. So, I don't know, go check that out. I haven't watched it yet, okay? In doing so, you will heal many old habits and patterns from lifetimes past on Earth and in the stars, okay? So this is just warning against toxic positivity. And you guys, I see a lot of people do this. I see a lot of people who step onto the path of spirituality and they're so enlivened by it and impassioned by it and motivated by it that they get out there and they just start teaching, but they haven't done their shadow work. They haven't come to realize where that lies within them. And I want to share with you at least part of what I needed to work out in order to return to the channel was certain ego connections that I had that I was not aware of, okay? I was not able to return to this channel until I was able to cut the cord between identifying myself with this channel, okay? It was just a way the ego was working and manifesting in my life that I was not fully aware of. It was in the shadows, and I had to do that shadow work, okay? So you young, excited, vibrant, oh my God, I got into a high vibration, I'm gonna tell the whole world how I did it. Teachers out there, the Pleiadians are here to help you do the go within, okay? Because there's a lot of people who think you can skip that part. And then there's a lot of people who think that you're gonna get to a point where your shadow work's just done. Honey, no. How long have you been stuck in this incarnation, in this body, tied to an ego? It's gonna take the rest of your lifetime to kind of unlearn how to do that, all right? So, as somebody who, trust me, March 2020, okay? I lived in the first of the United States to cancel school for the rest of the year. And I was a public school teacher. And I was like, we're going to Jedi training. We are going within. I've spent the past 2 years. And really, I can go back over 20 years and track my own shadow work. It's never really done. It's there in the shadows, and we have to be willing to look at it, okay? We got to be willing to look at it, okay? They're coming through to let me know. In fact, this is something that I've been feeling for a while, that the number of people out there who have had some sort of spiritual experience and now consider themselves to be spiritual teachers, the word that I'm getting is reckless. It's reckless to declare yourself a teacher, a model, a guide before you've done your own shadow work. And I also talked about witchcraft as a metaphor, where, you know, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, like I realize that I have this power that I can manifest whatever I align my intentions with. But then you look at what they're aligning their intentions with and you're like, really? You have to clarify your will. You got to dig around. You got to dig around in there and ask yourself what you're chasing after. What are you trying to manifest? What are you teaching other people to chase after? Really give yourself some time, you guys. I still feel nervous calling myself a spiritual teacher and guide, okay? Because I'm like, really? Has it been enough? Have I done enough of my shadow work? And Spirit says that simply the awareness that it's always there to be done is very, very valuable. It's going to keep us humble, okay? So don't go forth with reckless messages at this time. Just be careful, you guys. Be careful, be careful, be careful. All right? Be careful. Because what we're talking about here is the overall credibility of conversations about spirituality and about contact with our galactic guides. Okay? Have you ever been a part of a grassroots organization? I was part of a grassroots political organization back in 2009 that was very quickly co-opted by the people in power. Because that's what happens. As soon as there's a group of people that has a message that really has the ability to change the world, there are outside forces that are going to come in and discredit that message as much as they can. And if you're moving forth with an incomplete philosophy, if you're out there teaching an incomplete philosophy, you're going to be a target for being invalidated, okay? And that can weaken the whole message. Okay? Those are the past time stream Pleiadians coming through saying, trust us, we did that and we were wrong. We did that and it had consequences. All right? present time stream Pleiadians are coming in to share their cultural ideals. And I want to know more about that from the book. As I get to know this deck more, I probably won't need to go to the book every time. But you guys, there's 108 cards and each one has like that much info. So I don't want to be spouting ignorance at all. So here we are. I love this. This is true. This is definitely something that I associate. This is one of the ways in which I resonate with Pleiadian energy. Pleiadians are enthusiastic cosmic anthropologists. They like to understand the ideals that shape the way in which we function on a daily basis. They love studying other cultures and interacting with them. Part of this is sharing the Pleiadian culture with other species as well. It's never to dictate what's right or wrong, but purely for the purpose of exchanging ideas. This natural curiosity is also within each of us. And this card is suggesting that you embrace this part of yourself a little bit more. I knew it. Don't be afraid to explore and share with others what you've learned, but do so from a place of neutrality and genuine loving kindness. Know that the ideas you share will help others on their spiritual journeys. This is interesting, and I might get some backlash because I'm getting a little cultural political with this. There is a big narrative in United States culture right now that if you are a white person, you cannot learn about Native traditions. I mean, you don't want to appropriate them. Like, for sure, I agree that there is a way to approach another culture and just cherry pick what you like or think is cute about it and then suddenly call that your own. That's cultural appropriation, and it's not okay. But I have always felt in my study of philosophy and religion, I guess that's the Pleiadian in me, isn't it? I tried to deny the Pleiadian in myself. I understand, and I recognize that a part of my own shadow, all right? But nonetheless. But I truly believe that information, tools, practices that have been passed down from on high have been passed down to humanity. And that we can learn a lot about each other by discussing those beliefs, those practices, and the meanings behind them at this time. But there's a dialogue that makes that a literal minefield if you try to begin to approach it, all right? And I don't want this to be misconstrued as any sort of white supremacy or anything like that. Like, I feel gross that those words came out of my mouth, okay? But I was having a conversation with a Mayan gentleman at Isla Mujeres about how ever since I've been in Mexico, it's not like I came down here and was like, I'm going to become a Mayan. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to learn all about the Mayans. I'm just going to like hijack Maya beliefs, okay? But I keep getting bound by people, right? And having these amazing conversations and cultural exchanges. And these messages coming in to say that it is okay, and then also interactions with human people, right? Who are accepting me with open arms, welcoming me, saying we'd love for you to learn more about this culture and then share what you can with others. And I had a conversation with this gentleman and said, not according to the common dominant dialogue out there. Because my skin is one color, I can't appreciate the teachings of another group of people that have a different skin color from me. Okay, the concept of race is so damaging to this planet at this time. It's so damaging. And that's why I don't like to use that term when I talk about Pleiadian, Pagan, Syrian, okay? They're not races, they're civilizations, okay? Maybe they're racist too, but that doesn't matter. Like, our biological, like what our DNA is made of is so much different than the choices that we make in life and how we choose to serve the collective. We need to identify them as separate, specifically when we're talking about our galactic civilizations that are helping us out at this time. Just because it's not a healthy aspect of the discourse that's happening here on this planet. So I'm not trying to argue that cultural appropriation does not exist, but I'm also saying that those kind of arguments about race and what messages were meant for whom are not on the side of our ascension at this point in time, okay? So what this card is showing up to say is, let's find healthy ways to dissolve those walls between cultures, okay? Because I really do believe that, imagine if, I have this image now, what they're showing me is puzzle pieces being dropped all over the planet. And it's almost like we need to bring these pieces together to see what is the whole picture that it creates, okay? They're telling me I can just lock it up there and leave it, all right? And then we've got balanced relationships. Look at that cute little scale. This really makes me want to talk about equal energy exchange. You guys, when I was getting ready, hair and makeup, you can tell I spend hours on it. Just kidding, I don't. I was thinking about the fact that, like, just the conversation that I've been having with myself, that it's okay to walk away from messy people right now. It's okay to walk away from messy people right now. It's okay to walk away from people who only know how to take what you've worked really hard to be able to hold on to. And I'm talking about your energy, your good, your good vibes, okay? It's okay to walk away from messy people. It's okay to walk away from people who are constantly in crisis mode. Because that's not an equal energy exchange, okay? I had a job that I love that I have to stop doing because I realize it's disintegrating from inside. Because what happened is I set my attention, I committed myself to partaking in equal energy exchange. That's something I've been working on for a long time with my guides. And once you commit yourself to that, any exchange in your life which is not an equal energy exchange, it becomes destabilized, okay? You don't really gotta work to get rid of those things. Just commit yourself to equal energy exchange and hold that vibration and watch things happen. Watch things fall away. That is realness, okay? But I'm giving you permission right now, especially if we've all had almost 2 years to go within and figure out who we are and where we're going and what we're doing. Not that we're supposed to have the answers by now, right? But there are certain people who are still waiting for things to quote unquote go back to normal. They're not willing to question whether that normal was really serving them, okay? And a lot of those people are existing in crisis mode, all right? That's beautiful, because look, if you're in this energy, this Empress energy, you got to be careful, because this lack mentality, this crisis mode, living in fear, messy energy, it serves like a vacuum. It's just gonna, they're showing me a wet sponge and a dry sponge, and if you put them together, the dry sponge is gonna soak up all the water out of the wet sponge. That's what happens energetically. The challenges in human relationships happen from expectation. We expect our partners to become who we want them to be rather than allowing them to be who they are naturally. And that's really good. That's a really good lesson if you're still trying to fight to make anybody be who you think they can be. Even if you look at somebody and you're like, oh my God, I see all your potential. That potential is theirs to fulfill. You can lose a lot of energy trying to change anyone. So if somebody shows you they're messy and they got messy energy, believe them. Believe that they're the only one who can work on that. And I'm not trying to create any sort of division or further polarization, but I'm just talking about if you're somebody who has their energy senses turned on, somebody who's interacting with their energetic field and trying to keep it clean and pure, especially if you're trying to channel who's up there. You got to be careful about your energy exchanges, okay? When people show you who they are, let them be who they are. You can't change them. This card suggests that it's time to take an honest look at the relationships in your life and your expectations. Can you be 100% present as a friend, family member, or partner without expectation? Or if expectation is placed on you, can you ignore that pressure and be your natural self anyway? This card points to a karmic pattern ready to be released, and this future Pleiadian energy can assist you. And it talks about the fact that pain and suffering that exists in these inhuman relationships often come from us not feeling whole within ourselves and needing that other person to complete us or to reflect back to us something that we are not willing to reflect back to ourselves. Okay? Because I gotta let you know, as this vibration shifts, it becomes harder for those of us who are in this energy to entertain these energies. Okay? This is the abundance and thriving. This is the lack mentality and suffering. Okay? That's who's coming through today. Let's look at the energy shift. That's only been like 40 minutes. No big deal. The energy shift. I still got this 9 of coins here. I love this dress, by the way. I want this dress. This is really beautiful. Because this is the portal that you have the ability to step through. All right? Oh my God. There's another. Oh my God. Okay. That piggybacks a lot off of what these cards are saying, as well as the just meditations that I was having when I was getting ready for this reading, okay? Because when I was talking about giving ourselves permission to move away from messy people, the question that Spirit presented to me, because that's how they do. They're not going to tell you facts. They're going to ask you questions. The question they presented with me is, who are you trying to bring through the eye of the needle? Who are you trying to bring through the eye of the needle? And is that not the imagery that we have right now? This is the eye of a needle. You can't bring everybody with you if we're talking about stepping into a new earth frequency, okay? The new earth frequency is the love that builds houses that are not made of clouds, but that you can actually enter. That's a reference to yesterday's video, okay? And they showed me somebody with a little sewing needle trying to shove a piece of yarn through it. Okay? You can't take all 9 pentacles. You can take one. And when you get through there, please know that's where your pentacles will be waiting. You guys, does that make sense to you? It makes sense to me. It's about multidimensionality. When you step into being your multidimensional self, it does require, I understand, it does require that you leave certain things behind, okay? Like beliefs about being just a unidimensional self, all right? So one of the messages that I made yesterday that didn't get posted because it starts with the channeled message and ends with a reading, and the channeled message is one that I just need to articulate a little better in the future. But the reading that I did was with the Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards, and it was really interesting because it showed me 4 frames. And the first was a man with very long white hair. And the second was somebody had shaved their head. And then in the third, a bit of hair had grown back. And in the fourth, they had a head full of dreads, okay? And that was a metaphor for the fact that, I don't know how to say it. They're showing me somebody who's taking off clothes and putting on new clothes, right? You might like or be attached to the clothes that you have worn, the hair that you've grown in this reality. But if you want to step into the next one, there's just certain parts that have to be left behind, okay? I also feel that this can be seen as these other entities, these other dimensional entities that are wanting to reach through, sort of permeate that boundary, which is only held in place by the law of free will. Meaning, if we set our will and set our attention to make these connections to these other dimensional entities, that's what can invite them through. You need to give them permission. I don't know why that pentacle represents permission. Like, hey, did you call? Now I'm here. All right. I feel like there's more about the energetic shift that we're going through. So I'm just going to, it's a great big deck. I'm going to take a second to shuffle them up. And while you're waiting on me, you can hit that little fast forward button, you know, double tap your screen to get 10 seconds into the future. Or take this time to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, okay? Thank you so much to the Orion, Pleiadian, Vegan, Syrian energy that have come in at this time. Y'all see it. Ooh, I love it. We got the Queen of Pentacles. This is what we evolve into once we step through the doorway, okay? This is almost like you showing up in the multi-dimensional universe saying, here I am, world. I'm a multi-dimensional being. Let's interact multi-dimensionally. Wow, and look at how they sit you on that throne. Wow. Nobody can take this pentacle from you. Do you see how you're holding it? You see how you've got your spirit guides surrounding you? What else is coming through this message? There she is, the rabbit. There is fertility and abundance. This is really talking to me, you guys, about the fact that once you have come to know yourself, understand your own energy field, understand your darkness, understand the illusion of separation that we are under in this incarnation, that this becomes the tool that you can use to access these multidimensional energies. And I really honestly feel that that's interesting, because they're talking to me about the fact that, like, one potential, like, outcome of disclosure, were disclosure to happen, were one of these spaceships to drop down in your front yard and somebody just, like, comes out into your lawn and is like, hey, we're here, you guys, that there could be a tendency for humans to hand them a throne. Say, oh my gosh, sit and be on this throne, we shall enthrone you. But this energy is you stepping into that world and being given a throne. Being enthroned. Enthroned is a word that was really coming up in yesterday's extended love reading as well. Once you sit in this throne, the wisdom of the ages, because look, she's writing runes on that piece of paper. The support of the gods, if you will, and then justice itself will stand over your throne to defend your right to sit there. Oh, and I've been seeing a lot of things talking about the pine cone being a symbol for the pineal gland. So that makes me feel like there's telepathic communication. Oh my God, I understand. Once you guys have clarified your energy, and you're able to step into the vibrational frequency that these other dimensional entities are occupying, that allows for direct connection to the other humans on the planet Earth who have stepped into that space as well, telepathically. Remember I said when you speak a truth, that becomes an entity, it becomes a fetch. Is that what it's called? I've got the Magical Menagerie cards, and there are a couple things in here that are not living creatures. One is the quintessence, and the other, I think it's called a fetch, and it's represented as a little like tornado, like a little funnel cloud. But what it represents is the fact is this is a magic. This is an energy that you have created and now exists independently of you. There's a lot of communication that can happen at this time. And I feel like what they're really talking about is a particular channel of communication being opened up, okay? And I'm not just talking, we can connect to the other dimensional helpers, but once we're there, we'll meet other people who have accessed that place as well. You know what we should do? Oh my gosh, what if we just picked a night? This is just an idea. This is an idea. What if we all picked a night and chose to astral project to a certain location? Would we meet each other there? I know, let's meet under the Sphinx. Shh, they're not supposed to know it's there. Shh, don't tell. I love it. I love it. I love that idea. I love that idea. Oh, because what happens is this extra dimensional vibration, this vibrational frequency becomes a resource that some people will have access to and therefore will thrive, and others will lack. Others will not have access to. And they just brought me full circle to the story that I told at the beginning. You guys, okay, that's what I have for you today. That's what I feel like my body can channel at this time. It's been about 56 minutes. So I am going to go ahead and give myself some nutrition and whatnot. And I think I'd like to come back and try to deliver another message to you today. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. Collective messages like this one, I'm not doing an extended for. So this is your message. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop those in the comment box. Share the channel with a friend that you think might be into it. Let me know how you're doing, you guys. I missed you all. I love you. Mwah. Thank you for letting me be here with you today. Best.